What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cafe and Views. Today we went to Matcha and we got their blue drink. Let's talk about the shop. So the shop is off a pretty busy road. It's in a wooded area. There's a lot of leaves and brush around it. You're not gonna miss it. It's pretty much out in the open. It predominantly has a pink and green aesthetic to it. It kind of gives off like a new school type of vibe. Their menu is not as extensive, but it does show itself off in a good way. They have matchas, they have specials, they have seasonal drinks, and they also have food. Their food options are kind of more so like a snack. It's not really meant to get you full. It's just something to enjoy with your coffee. They also have merchandise. They sell pink and green shirts similar to the aesthetic of the shop. And they also sell bottled coffee as well if you just want to grab and go quick and you want to save it for later. The outside is pretty spacious. There's about 8, 9, 10 different chairs and tables that you could sit at and enjoy the coffee. Overall, it gives kind of a green vibe, but it's more out there. It's more naturist than other coffee shops are. So the coffee shop, for me, aesthetic wise, gets a 4 out of 5. Let's talk about Acidity. The drink is seasonal. I'm getting a huge blast of citrus and blueberry. It gives off a subtle sweetness to it. It's not over the top sour. You can't taste as if like sugar went into it or anything along those lines. Although besides the matcha, I'm not really getting any prominent notes. There's nothing that is sticking out too much. You can taste a lot of the different notes, but none of them are fighting for dominance. I'm getting a milky, fruity pebbles type of taste from it. It's pretty mellow and tame. Because it's sweet, it's gonna mellow you out. It's not gonna provide a sharp feeling as if a bitter coffee would. If this coffee was more minimal, it might do that, but because of all the little ingredients that went into it, it enhanced it in a positive way. The ingredients that went into this coffee are matcha, blue algae, lavender honey, almond milk, and collagen. All the ingredients are giving off a sweet taste. For acidity, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. Let's talk about aroma. Because this coffee has algae in it, that's predominantly what I'm smelling. That's the main ingredient that it's really giving off. It's not as potent, but that's the only thing that I'm really getting. You're not getting any individual notes. It's all mixing together real well. The algae smell is more toned down, so if you're not into algae or the smell or the taste of it, you're not really gonna get that. The smells in this coffee are not giving your nose an experience. It's not enhancing the senses inside of your nose. Typically, when you smell a good coffee and you smell the aroma, you can somewhat taste it, but I'm not getting that smell or the taste from this coffee. You're gonna have to lean quite a bit to get any sort of smell from this coffee. You're not really getting it from just an arm's length away. You really have to put your nose deep down inside of it. Aroma is not gonna affect the taste in any way. Aroma and flavor go hand in hand. So if you're getting a good smell, it's gonna go with the flavor. The flavor and aroma are split. Like if you had a good flavor and you were tasting it, you would be able to get a strong aroma from it, but vice versa, it does not do that. All the notes mixed together are creating a nice, subtle, fruity sweetness to it. It's not over the top. You're not getting a strong, sugary smell from it. It's more subtle and toned down. I'm surprised on how good the algae smells in this coffee. Typically, when you're out to sea and you're smelling that natural algae, it's not giving off a nice, pleasant smell. But for this coffee, it's doing just that. Because of the subtleness, it's providing that nice, tame smell. For aroma, I'm gonna put this at a 3.5 out of 5. Let's talk about flavor. Now for this, I'm starting to get more of the ingredients and the flavor is starting to come out a lot more. I'm able to stop and pick out the individual flavors. I'm able to just make my head think and pick out every individual flavor, but they are kind of fighting for dominance. They aren't kind of playing well. Each one is trying to compete with the others, trying to beat out the last. It's making you think of the ingredients and trying to understand them a lot more. For aroma, it's not doing that. You're not getting a strong aroma, so you're not trying to think about what went in it. But with flavor, it's the opposite. You're starting to think and kind of really go in depth into what went into the coffee and how much of it. You're not getting any extra additives by smelling the coffee. The flavor is not changing the aspect of the coffee in any way. If you just took out aroma altogether, the flavor would still be the same. All the ingredients are combining together in a nice way to create that sweet aroma. It's the same thing with flavor. It's combining to create that nice, sweet, tame flavor. For flavor, I'm gonna put this at a 4 out of 5. Let's talk about body. It's more on the soda side. It's not too wet in your mouth. It's kind of like a drier feeling. It's kind of drying out your mouth in a subtle way, but not too much like a bitter coffee would. It glides off the tongue. It doesn't stick around for too long. In the few moments that you're tasting this coffee, that it's becoming more flavorful, you're getting the strong, pleasing flavors, and even the odd flavors are good. They're all providing a nice, good experience when it's in your mouth. All the ingredients by themselves in this coffee might not taste as well, but combined, they're giving off a nice, pleasant experience. Because it's in your mouth for a short while, during that time, it's making you think what went into the coffee. If you didn't know the ingredients, you would stop and think, and you would spend a lot more time to think about exactly what went into it. Since it dissipates quickly, the texture is not there. It's not coating your mouth. It's not filling in the little textures in your mouth. Your taste buds are not getting coated, and it's not providing any extra additives to your taste buds. For body, I'm gonna put this at a 2.5 out of 5. Next up is gonna be sweetness. Because this coffee is so tame in sweetness, the ingredients that went into this coffee are kind of canceling each other out. If one ingredient is too sweet than the other ingredient is gonna cancel that one out. And so they kind of balance each other out in terms of sweetness and give it overall that tame sweetness that I love. It's not that caramel macchiato type of sweetness where you can taste as if sugar's in your mouth. For this, you can't really get that. The taste is there, but it does not provide a good overall mouthfeel. It checks the boxes in sweetness and overall feeling. For sweetness, I'm gonna put this at a 4.5 out of 5. So next up is gonna be aftertaste. It's not hugging your mouth, the deeper you're going. In a way, it's kind of drying out your mouth. It's not coating it. The only thing that might coat it is the ice from this coffee. You're getting more of the watered down feeling that's in a way taken away from the sweetness. Because of this, it's putting the coffee more on the sour spectrum. It's changing it from the sweet to the sour. In the beginning, it was leaving a nice trail. The sweetness was giving you a good experience, but that changed as you kept drinking. You started losing that enhanced flavor to the point where you couldn't really detect what was going into the coffee. I prefer my coffee to either be sour all throughout or sweet all throughout. I don't like when it changes because it kind of alters the experience, and if you start enjoying one part of the coffee, you're gonna get let down in the second half. Or if it's a letdown in the first half and gets better in the second half. For this coffee, before the ice melts, you wanna savor the flavor and you wanna savor a little bit of aroma that you're getting from it. It was attracting me for more, but as I was drinking it, I started losing that feeling. So about 2/3 of the way in, it really was too watered down to the point where I wasn't really getting much flavor or aroma from it. For aftertaste, I'm gonna put this at a 2 out of 5. Let's talk about complexity. When you first saw the coffee with the green on the top, the blue at the bottom, the citrus taste that you were getting, also having the coffee shop be different, having that pink and green look, chairs on the outside, and just the overall nature vibe from it. And they also have a plant-based straw, so it's not plastic or paper. Paper tends to melt too quick and you start getting that paper in your mouth and it's just overall sloppy. And then with plastic, obviously you want to get rid of that. So with a plant-based straw, it's a good alternative. Even the ingredients are complex. Everything that went into this coffee is not really a typical ingredient that you would see in a coffee aside from the almond milk. The blue algae, the lavender, honey, the collagen, it's all unique and different. This kind of reminds me of 6 Sense coffee, where it was also that matcha look. It was green and blue and it tasted like citrus, but I believe that coffee, I got a higher score, one of my favorites. So this coffee kind of mimics that, but it doesn't quite hit all those points. So it's not an identical copy, but it's in a strong second place. The first half is like, it takes you on a journey. It's like if you're dreaming and you're having a good time, and then once the ice melts and it starts watering it down, it's like if you were waking up from that dream and you start thinking to yourself, you want to go back to that dream, you want to maintain that flavor and the aroma. This coffee, definitely don't get ice in it because it's going to water down and it's going to ruin it. But for complexity, I'm gonna put this at a 4 out of 5. Let's talk about balance. In all aspects, this coffee is not balanced besides aroma. So for mouthfeel, body, flavor, they're all competing and you're getting a lot of different individual ingredients at different points. The only balance that you're getting is when it creates that nice tame sweetness to it. All the characteristics are not balanced, but they're not all over the place. They're not going to the extreme. It's not from 1 to 10. In some cases, people don't like that balanced feeling. They want everything to be all over the place. They want to be surprised by the coffee in all aspects from the beginning to the end. But for those that don't like it, it's gonna give them a hard time in figuring out what went into the coffee, and they're gonna have a tough time kind of deciphering it and really enjoying it. They're just gonna be looking for the flavor and the aroma. Once the ice melts, they're just gonna not like the coffee. They're not really gonna go deep down inside to kind of pick apart all the other characteristics as opposed to just flavor or aroma. The first half was more sweetness because of the lavender and the honey, and then the second half was more toned down because of the algae, and I was getting more algae from it. For balance, I'm gonna give this a 1.5 out of 5. Let's talk about forgiveness. I'm gonna forgive the coffee not being as good in the second half because the first half was so good, and it was kind of my mistake in getting iced because a lot of other times the ice really ruined the flavor and the aroma of the coffee. Versatility, this coffee is kind of versatile, but not really. Because the coffee gets watered down towards the end, you want to be able to enjoy the coffee when you're there. So when you get kind of let down towards the end, just the overall shop kind of uplifts you, and just being surrounded by the nature when you're there, and also surrounded by the pink and the green lights and the pink and the green overall atmosphere, it's gonna bring up your mood when the coffee starts bringing it down. So for versatility, I'm gonna put this at a 3 out of 5. Overall, the blue drink from Cha-Cha Matcha got a 32 out of 50 or a 64% out of 100. Thank you so much for watching Cafe and Views, where we went to Cha-Cha Matcha and we tried out their blue drink. Don't go anywhere, because after these commercials, we'll be right back.